Trying. All right. I think we're good. Are
Okay.
we here? Are we here?
Yeah. Can anybody see us?
I think we're live on Ghost Pirate. I think we are.
All right.
I think we're live.
Start
All right. Let's start.
play the intro.
Let's go. It wasn't until 2020 that I actually sat down and watched Texas Chainsaw.
All right, how do I turn this on?
All righty. Hey, here we are. It's 7:04 on a Wednesday, 7:04 Eastern, that is. And you are with your favorite horror show on midweek evening. This is the Screaming Room. What's going on, buddy?
Yo, what's up? How are you guys all out there doing?
Yeah. Anybody see any good movies?
Streaming the StreamYard or the program that we use to do the podcast was having technical problems. Like for some reason, when we kept clicking go live, it kept saying, sorry, try again later. So it wasn't us. I promise.
Yeah, it wasn't us. We were on time. We were on time. StreamYards was late. Greetings, Vorpal Bite. How's it going? Good to see everybody. So got lots of news to talk about. Let's see. We're going to talk about a few things. We got a trailer to watch that just dropped, apparently. Looks like everything is in French, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Do we know if it's a French movie?
In horror.
Yeah, it has been. Hey, how's it going, Bridget? Good to see you. Okay, so let's just get right into it. Unless you have something you want to talk about prior to, unless you still have anything you want to say, we can get right into it. Yeah,
let's get into this. So,
all right, cool.
The first story is the Chris Stuckman, right? That we were talking about.
Yes, and I pulled all these links up in the wrong program, so give me one.
Right. So, for anybody not aware, Chris Stuckman is a YouTuber. He's one of the OGs. He's been reviewing movies for like over 10 years since he was like a kid. And he's one of the more well-respected. Not everybody likes him or loves him. And there's been some controversy the last year or so that because he's made his own movie now, that he refuses to be a real critic anymore and actually be hard on movies or whatever. And so he's gotten some push blowback on that or whatever. But the thing with him is, yes, he's reviewed movies for a long time, but he's also been making movies, like, with just him and his friends or whatever, like little shorts or whatever. But he's been wanting to be a filmmaker and trying to make movies his entire life. Like there's videos of him he's put up of him as like a little itty bitty kid, like remaking the Indiana Jones movies in his backyard with his friends. Like he's just always wanted to be a filmmaker. So anytime we see a YouTuber or not just a YouTuber, but a content creator that independently makes content, having any success in the movie industry, that is just enormous, because it just opens up doors for every other independent artist out there wanting to not just make movies, but anything you want to create. It shows that you don't need a big studio to do things anymore, that if you work hard and are talented, you can do whatever you put your mind to. So that's why this story is exciting to me and a big deal to me. So do you have it pulled up?
I got it pulled up. So
all
we
right.
Can, so here we go. So Longlegs company Neon picks up Chris Stuckman's horror movie, Shelby Oaks. Why am I not allowed to drag this over into my, I'm just having all kinds of issues today, boys. There we go. This is from Bloody Disgusting. Fresh off the box office success of Osgood Perkins' Longlegs, which just had the highest opening weekend in the company's history, which we'll get into. Neon has picked up YouTube critic Chris Stuckman's debut horror movie, Shelby Oaks. Neon has acquired worldwide rights to the found footage horror movie, which is world premiering at Fantasia this week. No word yet on a wide release date. We can stay tuned for more. Horror master Mike Flanagan recently came on board the upcoming Shelby Oaks as executive producer. Flanagan, Trevor Macy, and Melinda Nishioka of Intrepid Pictures have joined the team. The cast of Shelby Oaks includes a bunch of people. So what is Shelby Oaks, you ask? Well, here's the synopsis. Shot as a traditional feature, but with some elements of found footage, Shelby Oaks is a horror film about missing paranormal investigators, the paranormal paranoids, the dark legacy they uncovered, and the far-reaching effects their investigation has as Mia searches for her sister Riley, the lead paranormal investigator 12 years later. As Mia uncovers new and disturbing leads related to Riley's disappearance, she uncovers evidence of a hidden supernatural evil dating all the way back to her and Riley's childhood. Stuckman wrote and will be directing Shelby Oaks for Paper Street Pictures. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, good for Chris Stuckman.
Yeah, it's cool because he was able to crowdfund this movie too, so it really allowed him to not have to deal with the studio. Like Paper Street came on later to facilitate like different things, but financially, this was completely free reign to do whatever. So yeah. So that's exciting because and the fact that Neon, because everybody has been curious, what's up with this movie for over a year now, and if it's going to be any good. It's like, it's a YouTuber, so is it going to be any good or what? But the fact that Neon, like, first off, Flanagan attached his name to it, so that says something. And then now that Neon, because I mean Flanagan has his own, like he's got people. They could have, there's other companies I know for sure that could have gotten distribution rights, but the fact that Neon picked it up says that it's going to be artsy and creative and not like just, another found footage or just another Hollywood movie, So like that also, to me anyway, goes a long way because they just don't put out just whatever. They're just like A24. They're a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Picky on the movies they choose,
Well, yeah, but I think Neon, along with A24, is these are production companies. These are studios and distributors, right? Like, what are they officially? Are they distributors officially? Like, are they like studios?
They're production houses. They're independent production houses,
right? So they produce and distribute.
Yeah. So both studios, there's like some movies they just simply buy the rights to. Like in this case, they're just literally buying the rights to it for worldwide distribution. But then there's other movies where they actually put them, like for instance, the movie A24 paid to have Civil War. Like that wasn't just a movie that they bought the rights to, like they actually made that movie. It's the most expensive movie they've made. Whereas like there's other movies where they literally just, it's a already done movie, like Talk to Me, where they just straight up bought the rights to it.
Yeah. So all right, so they're like a production house, right? Like you said. And it seems like A24 and Neon are both of the mindset that they're going to give filmmakers more room to be filmmakers instead of, like being like the studios and producers that Chris Stuckman always complains about. So we're going to get more movies that are a little more friendly to the creator so that we can see if indeed filmmakers are better than what has been put out by these studios, that it's actually, the studio interference that makes movies bad, which obviously has, something to do with it. But anyway, Neon obviously gives creators more freedom, which is good. And they've been benefiting from that just with the way that Longlegs has done in the box office. It's high risk, high reward. And so they're reaping the benefits of that, which is good.
That's the crazy thing. There isn't much risk like at all these movies. Like,
well, with Shelby Oaks, no, there's no risk.
There wasn't much risk.
Yeah, they have
$4 million budget and they spent $2 million on promoting it.
Yeah.
So a total of $6 million that they spent on that movie, and they've already made almost 4 times that in opening weekend.
Right. Yeah. So so they've been benefiting. But obviously, I don't know. Maybe to them, $2 million.
No, you're right. There is a risk.
I think a $2 million risk is still a $2 million risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Longlegs could have bombed, and
I don't think there's no way it would have bombed because before the word even got out, it was selling tickets. They did a great job of promoting that one. There are certain ones like Immaculate. Immaculate could have bombed. You know, and and the thing is, Neon has been doing great movies for a long time that are making no money. Like Titane from 2 years ago, phenomenal French movie from Julia Ducournau or whatever, and I forget if I pronounced that name right, but like nobody saw that movie. Like, you know, they didn't make money on that, like most of their movies. So it's really, this is the first year where Neon is starting to actually make some money. Like A24 has been making money for a minute. You know, they've had a number of movies doing well, but this is like even crazy. Like even A24 hasn't seen this kind of success. Like even some of A24's most successful, you know, like we think these movies are like huge and they make like 10 million.
Yeah.
So the
fact, for us, I think for us that's pretty big. I just want to get to this real quick. Verbal saying Longlegs is only 7.3 on IMDb. It's only average.
That's above average.
I want to get into that. Yeah, well, one, that's above average. Two, horror movies are generally rated lower on these sites anyway. So you kind of have to add 2 points. I would say to a horror movie.
Cinema Score, there has been only like I think 3 ever horror-ish type of movies that have gotten an A.
Right. So let's chill out. We'll get into Longlegs. We'll talk about it, but like 7.3 on IMDb is actually pretty damn good for a horror movie. Let's keep it 100.
Really good.
Let's
because there's been a lot of really, really good ones that I've seen getting a 5.
Right.
You know, get a 5 or 5.5 on, you know, like horror is just not loved by any of the critics, no matter what. If it's Rotten Tomatoes, you know, like every now and then there's certain ones that do good, but a lot of them, you know, just get dumped on. So
right. Well, so anyway, so getting back to what we were originally talking about, Neon picking up Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks is a big deal. Mike Flanagan signing on is a big deal. I would say it pays then to have done what Chris Stuckman did. I think it's cowardly what he did. I think he is sacrificing his integrity for it. But if that's what's worth it to him, then obviously it's paying off. You know,
you mean the lack of being hard on movies?
Well, yeah, the lack of even
all this stuff was in place. This was all in place before any of that. So like,
well, okay, fine.
Him stopping to be hard on movies was not because of this. It's like separate things, because
it's not just that he won't be hard on movies. He just won't review movies that he thinks are bad anymore. So he's only going to review movies that he thinks are good.
No.
And the reason, yes,
even that he's softened on. It's more of he just only really, he doesn't want to badmouth movies, basically. And he'll review movies that aren't the greatest, but he's basically like he has something to say. He only reviews movies now that he has something to say. So like if it's just a bad movie and he's just going to shit all over it, he's just not going to bother.
Yeah,
like,
but
he doesn't even do all the big movies now. Like he doesn't review like he used to. His channel's completely changed. Like he just, you know, like he covers some of them, but there's a lot of big movies he never talks about. And then there's a lot of really small ones that nobody knows about that he talks about. So it's he's more of just being like, he just talks about stuff that he's interested in talking about now.
I don't know. I guess it's just you come to, because I subscribed to Stuckman for a long time, and I was one of the many people that were like, all right, well, this isn't the content I want from you. It kind of feels like you're just kowtowing now. I want to hear why. Like, you don't just because you're critiquing a movie. Well, no, hang on. Let me finish. Just because you're critiquing a movie, that doesn't mean you're shitting on it. Like there's definitely bad and good ways to go about movie critiques, but like you can point out things that are bad in a movie, and then you can.
He still does. Have you not watched his videos?
No, he just goes. He says things like, "Well, that wasn't for me," or "I'm not sure that I would have done that." Like he just isn't really.
He's straight up said he just doesn't. He like ever since he made this movie, like it's not like he it's not like he is lying or pretending. Like, he's come out and very clearly
he's
in
lying.
multiple videos straight up said, like, hey, ever since I made this movie, I just feel weird about being like a full-on critic.
Being critical of
He's
filmmakers.
like, I feel
because
like
it's
I'm a
hard.
filmmaker now.
Yeah.
And so, like, he's like, I feel like I'm a filmmaker now, so I still want to talk movies. But like, he started a thing where he talks about old movies and talks about the movies that made him fall in love with movies. And like, so he's not really like, he really pivoted his channel, and a lot of YouTubers pivot their channel.
I guess it just for me,
I
and a lot of
pivoted my
and a
channel.
lot of other of his followers and people that have come to enjoy his content saw that as him deciding that he would rather cultivate relationships within the studio system than risk offending somebody because he thinks making movies is hard, which they are. Making movies is hard. Writing a good story is hard. Developing good characters is hard. That does not make them immune to criticism. And
No.
so,
and I don't think that he had, because he's straight up said, like, in the one video that made all the noise, and multiple videos since, he's like, he has no problem with critics. He has no problem with people being film critics. He has no problem with anyone reviewing movies. He doesn't think anybody should change doing that. It's more just about him. Like, he just feels weird about being the same kind of critic that he was before. But he's also said, even before he made this movie, he started feeling weird about it. Cause it's like, here he is pitching movies, trying to make movies, and then he's going to like talk shit about, you know, they're filmmakers.
but it's not talking shit. You're not talking shit. That's what I'm trying to say. Because
he would have been.
No, but I do the same thing, and I'm harsher on movies than he ever was.
Yeah, but DJ, the difference is it's about how he feels, and this is
No,
why
I
I defend him. This is why I defend him. It's not a matter of saying he's right or wrong. It's how he would have felt to continue to do it, and so he needed to pivot his channel. And it isn't that much different, to be honest. Like, he still talks about things that are negative and whatever. He just doesn't. He just really.
I think he skirts around the issue, and he doesn't offer reasons for why something he.
Yeah, but so do I.
Bad.
So do I. It's just my style of reviewing movies. Like, I don't.
But that's
talk
not what
a whole hell of a lot of shit in movies. But we all changed. Like, we all literally. It would be one thing if he just kind of all of a sudden changed, but didn't talk about it. I think because he came out and was straight up like, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable," and he did that long before that video he did that freaked everybody out. He made a video saying, "Hey, from now on, I don't feel comfortable reviewing movies." And he started his podcast, and he just stopped reviewing movies for a long time. It wasn't until this year where he did that for Spider-Man or
Madam Web.
Yeah, that's the one where everybody freaked out, which was ridiculous, because if anybody that had watched him regularly, it had been over a year since he said, "Hey, like, I might lose some of you guys. I'm warning you guys right now, but I just don't have the heart anymore to review movies like I used to." It wasn't even about the movie, because he started doing this before he even made the movie, and then he still did it after he made the movie, and he already had all these things set up in place with Paper Magic and with Flanagan and all this. He just announced this stuff with Neon. This stuff's been in place since last summer, was when
and he's going to keep
a lot of these deals went down.
And he's going to keep climbing the ladder so long as he goes along.
I just don't think it's that. I mean, you're right. There is that with anybody. And if you don't do that, you're not the brightest. Like, if you're going to sit there and stick to your ground, I'm going to talk shit about a studio.
But it's not talking shit. It's critique. That's the difference. It's
two different things I'm talking about. I'm saying, like,
yes,
I defend him. I don't defend him because of him not talking shit, whatever. I defend him only because he's just doing what he feels is right. That's what I defend. Not that he's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with criticizing movies. Like, a friend of mine, Cody Leach, like, he trashes movies sometimes, and I'm totally fine with it. and I'm totally fine with everything he does. I have lots of friends in this industry that, you know, I've talked to major shit about certain movies. So like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I don't think he does really either. But I don't defend him because of that. I defend him because I feel like he's just simply going with what feels right to him. And as a fellow YouTuber, like, you gotta, like, there's times when we pivot as a creator because you just don't have the heart to keep doing a certain thing, even if, because he can make a lot more money continuing to review movies. You know, like, yeah, ultimately he can make a lot of money making movies, but right now he hasn't made any money from this movie.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this up by just congratulating him, because I despite my opinion of what he's done, and despite my opinion of what I think he is, it's obviously good that he's getting this backing and he's getting the support that he's getting. This is definitely a golden elevator type situation, which maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a golden elevator because he spent all this time getting his YouTube channel up and getting his audience. So maybe it's not a golden elevator. However, it probably seems like that. But it is still a good, like, I am genuinely happy for him.
I see it as like steps, and that personally is why I think it's a big deal and why I'm excited about it. Because anytime, same with Raka Raka, anytime I see someone start something from nothing, start a YouTube channel from nothing, like just like me and you talking about shit, whatever, and build that into a platform, and then don't just say, hey, I'm here now, I'm going to be rich and famous, whatever, but use that to try to continue to like push their dreams and the film industry, and like, you know, and someone like anyone who reviews movies, like, literally you're helping propel the industry almost more than the people making the movies. Because I could argue that someone like, you know, especially someone as big of a platform as like Cody, or Chris Stuckman, like, dude, that's literally millions of dollars he's made for movies out there, like, by letting people know about it, you know, hey, go see it, whatever. And it's like, that pushes the industry. And I don't feel like we get the kind of credit on YouTube and stuff for that a lot as like we should. I mean, we still have to battle copyright shit. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like, you know, like, you know how many tiny little movies nobody would know about if I hadn't brought it to their attention? And it's like, I still have to deal with people like them sending me copyright claims and shit for 10 seconds of their movie. It's like, guys, you know, so it's respect. And so something like this is huge because you know, any of these, like, because you also, it's not just Stuckman, but you had Raka Raka, and you also have what's his name, he's a gamer, but he just finished a movie called Iron Lung. Damn it, it's based on the name, famous, he's super famous, he's way more famous than Chris Stuckman, but he just finished wrapping his horror movie. Markiplier.
Fishbach.
But no, Markiplier.
Markiplier.
Yeah. He just finished his movie. He's been working on it for over a year. It's a horror movie as well. So once more comes out on that, we'll talk about it more as well. But like, there's been no trailers, not a whole lot as far as I know released on it. I watch his channel pretty regularly and see his updates about it, but because I don't think they've finished even editing it or nothing. Like, they finished, they wrapped the film, but they haven't like I don't think it's the picture lock yet.
Well, I want to take 1 minute, since we're already halfway through the show, and ask everybody watching on Ghost Pirate, please go over to the Screaming Room channel. We are streaming this simultaneously. Please go to the Screaming Room. I'm going to post a link in the Ghost Pirate chat. Wait, that's the wrong link. Let me just do this, and please go watch us on Screaming Room. And if you have not subscribed on the Screaming Room, please do so, because it really helps us out. And we're not going to be simul streaming from Ghost Pirate soon. I don't know if we have a official end date for that, but we're really trying to build up the Screaming Room channel. Please go subscribe to the Screaming Room. And watch us there and chat with us there. We love seeing you guys in the chat. Vorpal, we're going to get to Longlegs. Don't worry, buddy. We're seeing everything you're saying. We're going to get there. We got one more thing to talk about. Are you ready to move on? You want to move on to our next our next piece of news? All right. So our next piece of news, and this should be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Is here it is. Where is it? Yeah. So the Alien TV series from FX is wrapped filming. So let me get rid of all this crap.
Yeah, not a lot of people even realize that because a lot of people heard Alien and thought it was just Romulus, but it's actually simultaneously they were working on this TV series as well. So I
Right.
don't think the two are connected in any way, though.
I hope not.
No, I'm pretty sure they're not. Like, I know that Fede Alvarez has nothing to do with this series, and I don't think Ridley Scott does either.
So it says, again, from Bloody Disgusting, it says, while we wait for Fede Alvarez's new movie, Alien Romulus, to arrive in theaters next month, we've learned this week that filming is wrapped on the Alien TV series from FX. The series had been filming in Thailand throughout the first half of the year, with production originally beginning last summer before being shut down due to the SAG-AFTRA strikes. Series star Sydney Chandler announced the end of production on Instagram this week. You can find her post below, which we will not look at, and then read on from everything we need to know about FX's Alien. The Alien franchise's first ever television series comes from creator Noah Hawley from Legion, and it's likely to arrive sometime next year.
Did you ever see Legion?
I have not. I think you've told me about it.
Series is really good. That's a really good series.
Of particular note, it's said to be the first story in the franchise that takes place here on Earth, set roughly 70 years in the future. FX teases expect a scary thrill ride set not too far in the future here on Earth. The series is set 30 years before the events of the original Alien. Alvarez's Alien Romulus, meanwhile, takes place 20 years after the events of Ridley Scott's Alien, dealing with the emergence of the story's infamous Weyland-Yutani Corporation and the race between corporations to create new android life. Sydney Chandler is playing a character named Wendy in the series, said to be a hybrid, a metahuman who has the brain and consciousness of a child, but the body of an adult. So that's interesting. Bunch of people starring. And then here's a little shot of the Instagram post. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I am excited that we're finally getting some more Alien stuff, and it's like more based off the original movie. You know, as much as I love what Ridley Scott was trying to do with the more recent Alien movies, you know, with I'm spacing on the names of them, but you know, the more newer ones, like as much as I appreciate what he was trying to do, they didn't feel like Alien to me. You know, like
I have not been a fan.
Just cool sci-fi movies, but they didn't feel like Alien movies.
I was not a fan of Ridley Scott's Alien anything other than like the original.
Yeah. And so it's like Romulus, we know for sure is going back to the original Alien feel. And from what I've heard, this series is supposed to, you know, be like set in that kind of look and style and stuff somewhat too. So
yes,
fingers crossed. Cause I feel like that's an IP that there's so much more that could be flushed out and done with.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I mean, I'm excited too. We're waiting on all this stuff. I just want it to come out. I want to see it because the only thing that I have to look for, I mean, I have the trailers and then everything else Alien that I've gotten has been this Ridley Scott stuff that I've not liked. And that was like, what, 7-8 years ago more?
Yeah. And you're not alone. I mean, like most big Alien fans, we're not huge fans of those movies.
Right.
So, but
alrighty.
Yeah. So, but that Legion series was awesome because it's like an X-Men sorta, but like it's very gritty and different and like really, really cool series. Nobody even realized it was X-Men either when it started, which is what made it kind of even cooler because it was like, I think it was at least a season or so in, and you realized, oh shit, like this is set in the world of X-Men. Like this is insane.
Alrighty, so
it's been a while since I watched it. So, all right,
well,
so let's get into Longlegs.
Yeah, the title track. So here's the numbers for Longlegs.
Was it 23?
Yeah, it's at 28 now.
Yeah,
we're approaching 30 million. It's in that upper echelon, so I don't know if you can really see it. Let me try to make this a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it's the biggest opening for a horror movie this year that is not part of an IP. So, like, Quiet Place Day One made more, but it's part of, a franchise. It's part of an IP.
Right.
So
this is an original.
Besides that, yeah. And it's really cool too, because earlier this year, Neon had their biggest opening with Immaculate, and everybody was like, wow, because it was, like huge for them. It was like 11 million, I think, opening weekend or something.
Yeah.
And then now here's this, and it's like just annihilated that. Like,
well, so
crazy.
it's doing well in the box office. We have some opinions, or we have an opinion by Vorpal Bite, and I want to address
Well,
these, and then
he asked,
so he
is
says
it even a horror movie? Like,
he says, wait,
he obviously hasn't seen it, right?
he says it's a crummy Nicolas Cage crime movie. It's only got a 7.3 on IMDb. He's like, isn't it just a crime movie? You say it's a horror movie. Like, look at, he says, I usually just go by Kanan's recommendations and don't bother with the rest. And then he says, Longlegs is a horror movie masquerading as a crime drama. Would not have bothered with it had you not set me straight. So, Vorpal, did you watch it? Who set you straight? Well,
yeah,
we're going to talk about
because like it or not, like, I'm not going to argue if you enjoyed it or not. Like, that's, but it's very clearly a horror movie. Like, I can't get into it much, but there is something that, especially the final act of the movie, takes a dramatic turn and it puts it squarely into a horror movie category. Like, you could argue the first, 2/3 of it are crime drama, thriller, but I feel like that final act is very horror.
So how spoilery can we get? Or are we just going to say if we liked it or not?
Yeah, let's not spoil anything, and then maybe in the last few minutes we'll get into some spoilers, but let's just give our overall review of it and our thoughts, and don't spoil it, because I want to make sure everybody in here, we warn them long ahead of time if we're going to start getting any spoilers. So, but we can at least start out with talking about it vaguely and just our thoughts.
Okay. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
You can go. I've seen it 3 times now.
Wow. So okay. I've only saw it once.
Pretty deep understanding of the movie at this point.
I saw it last night. And so I'm trying to think. Let me pull up, because I wrote my review. So let me pull that up and just give let me give the overall on that. So just
while you're doing that. So the biggest problem I've seen with this movie and the reaction to this movie is hype. If the vast majority of people didn't expect to go see the next Silence of the Lambs or the next Seven or the next great horror movie, if they had just went into this and been like, oh, cool, a new horror movie, I think that people would be like, dude, this movie is really good. But because there's so many super unrealistic expectations, I've seen more people than most people I've seen that have commented have said it was just okay, but I was disappointed. And that's a bummer to me, because luckily I know about the hype train, so I don't buy into the hype train. I have seen countless movies that people hate on that I love, and I've seen countless movies that people say is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I'm just like, it's just okay. So at this point, I go into movies and just watch them and accept them for what they are, enjoy what's good about them. You know what I mean? And and so for me, it wasn't divisive. I was very clear on my feelings and thoughts of it. But anyway, so what was your...
So I'm going to read the summary of my review. I'm not going to read my entire review. I'm just going to read the summary of it.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be spoilery. So don't yell, but you might. I don't know. I don't think this is a spoiler, but I'm just going to read the summary of my review. I have a longer review that I'm going to post on my channel, but here's the summary. Longlegs, a psychological supernatural horror film by Osgood Perkins, starring Mike.
Well, that's already a spoiler.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
You learn it within the first 5 minutes of the movie.
That it's supernatural?
Yes.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. When the guys talk us about our psychic ability.
Well,
It's
yeah,
within the first 5 minutes of the movie. That's supernatural.
they don't give that away in the trailer.
Oh my God. That's not a spoiler. Okay. I can't read any of this.
That's the tough part of this movie. I had people give me shit because that was the only thing I said in my review that could even be somewhat taken as a spoiler. But you have to. You can't talk about this movie and not say that it isn't just simply a detective drama.
So
thriller.
here's all right, fine.
There is a supernatural angle, but just don't get into what that angle is and how deep that rabbit hole goes.
Well, I don't. I'm all right. I'm going to finish reading and then just, I don't know. Like if I ruin it, I'm sorry, Manic Destroyer. I'm sorry. I already ruined it for you. If I ruin it for anybody else,
It won't.
then,
No. That won't ruin it for anyone.
Okay. I'm going to finish reading then. Starring Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage, is produced by Neon. Despite its box office success, the film's quality is debatable. Nicolas Cage shines as a menacing titular character, a departure from his recent horror
Hold
roles.
on.
Oh my
Pause
God.
right there.
Okay.
What do you mean the quality is debatable?
I think it's debatable. And we can get into it
what do you mean
later
by,
when we actually
what do you mean by quality?
I mean the quality of the film, the quality of the story. Everything,
Okay.
like it's
So
shot
you're
very
not talking
well.
about that's what I mean. When you say quality, you're not talking about the technical elements of a movie.
No, the technical
You're talking about
elements
like
of the movie are
overall
fine.
enjoyment of the movie and with everything kind of all together, the story, the look, everything together.
Right.
Okay.
So can I? Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. Okay.
Well, because usually when people say quality, they're talking about the way a movie looks.
Okay, well the quality's fine. Yeah. But the quality as a film over the technical quality is good. The quality of the film overall is debatable. Nicolas Cage shines as the menacing titular character, a departure from his recent horror roles. While Monroe's performance as FBI agent Lee Harker is commendable but underdeveloped, and I would say due to directorial choices.
Yes.
The film,
but
okay,
it's the trouble with me of seeing this movie 3 times, and I am very, very, very aware at this point how so many people do not understand this movie. They leave the movie not realizing exactly what actually happened in this movie. And you're right. Okay. It's a directorial choice, right? But there's a major reason why she acts the way she does in this movie.
Oh, I know the reason why. But I don't think you need to watch a movie 3 times to be able to get what the director's trying to say. Like that's a flaw in your director in your director.
No,
you should be able to.
No. It just means it's a complex layered movie. That just
but you can have right. But a movie should not require multiple views. That should not be the
requirement. Tons of movies do.
A
lot of the greatest movies ever made. That's not true because that's like saying that every movie should be just a simple popcorn horror movie that you don't have to really think about.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the only reason that you should need to rewatch a movie is because you want to rewatch it, not because you're having such a hard time understanding what's going on. You have to watch it again so that you can pay attention to something else.
Okay, there's a very distinct difference there. I think you can enjoy this movie on a first watch, right? I'm not saying you can't.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm saying I think you can enjoy it, but I think to actually understand the decisions and the choices and all the layers to this, you have to multiple watch this movie because there's some majorly hidden things. Like, did you notice the gun?
There were a bunch of guns.
Did you notice her gun?
Her handgun.
Yeah. Almost nobody notices her handgun. Like that's a huge key.
What's wrong with it?
And you're not going to notice that the first watch, but after you watch it a couple times, you start to notice things like this. I can't say because it's a spoiler.
Her gun is a spoiler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something happens in the movie with her gun that tells you it's a huge clue. Because this whole movie is one movie, right? And you can enjoy it. But then it's like a mystery it's like a detective mystery that you as the viewer need to unpack. And that's what I think is so fun about this movie. And it's like you start to notice more and more things, and you start to unpack and realize there's some complex things that happen in this movie that you don't realize on a first watch.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna finish my review summary, and then
Yeah, go
we
ahead.
can talk about it. But I just disagree. I don't think you should have to watch movies
You
multiple
don't have
times.
to. I don't think you have to. Like I
In
said,
order to
you
get
can still enjoy it, but to get all of what there is to get out of it, you need to watch it multiple times. Or have someone unpack it for you. Like you don't have to, like there's multiple podcasts out there and reviews out there that are doing spoiler that are getting into talking about the layers of this. You could do that. You don't have to but there's just a lot to this. There's a lot of complexities.
All right, so I'm just gonna finish. I'm hearing what you're saying. I just want to get through this. Is commendable but underdeveloped due to director. Okay. And sorry, folks, I'm not sharing my screen. This is just a summary of like in a notepad that I wrote. The film blends realistic and supernatural elements. Already spoiled it. Sorry, I guess. With Harker's psychic abilities initially aiding her investigation of cryptic murder suicides, but then being inconsistently utilized. The narrative, reminiscent of Silence of the Lambs and Seven, lacks careful pacing and cohesion of these classics, resulting in a disjointed and derivative story. While Longlegs offers an eerie atmosphere and strong performances, I believe the execution is flawed, making it a mixed experience for horror enthusiasts. That would be my summary of Longlegs. But I did enjoy myself watching it.
Yeah. But what you said, there's a lot of people that are saying something very similar. And then I've seen a lot of those same people when they realize what actually what you're actually watching in this movie, and they realize, oh shit, like that does kind of change how I saw the movie in a way.
I mean, maybe, but you can't expect that. I mean, like most people are going to go watch a movie once, right? Not like people like you and me watch,
like
you
you
watch
said,
movies more than one times, but you have to make it enjoyable enough for people to want to watch it again. Like, so when I brought
what
up
I'm saying is this though,
7,
it's a good movie, right? And you enjoyed it, whatever, right? But I'm saying this, that it's one of those rare movies that each time you watch it, it actually gets better because like you realize the movie is actually a better movie than you first thought it was. Because like you might start out at a 6.5 or 7 after you realize some more things about it and realize, oh shit, I just missed that. And that wasn't maybe a plot hole, but it was actually by design. Well, now I'm not going to take away a point for a plot hole. So now it's a 7. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing where, because there's no way to not do this. It's like Black Coat's Daughter was the same thing. It's like, if you watch that movie again, there's a lot that you miss in that first 2/3, especially because once you know the twist, so to speak, or the direction, this one doesn't have as much of a twist, but once you realize the direction that it ends up, it like gives context to everything before that. And you start to understand why a character does a certain thing. And so instead of it being like, oh, maybe that's, it's not that well written. Like this, a good example is her character, Micah Monroe, right? Her character is very stilted and acts almost like they're on the spectrum, like void of emotion. There's a very Asperger's almost way of going about things. And at first, like when I first watched it, I thought that it was just like, that's just a stylistic choice. Kind of weird, but I'm like, okay, whatever. And it is a stylistic choice. But when you realize at the end what actually happened and you rewatch it, you realize, oh, well, she's that way because of what happens at the end of this movie. Because the revelations that you get at the end of the movie, you realize why she is the way she is through that entire movie.
No, I understand, but I think there's worse plot holes than that. And I don't necessarily think that that's a plot hole, but I think
that's not a plot hole. I was just using that as an example of something feeling very different and being like making more sense after you have more context to it. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie either. I'm not like
Well,
trying
I was
to
going to
say
ask you, what do you think is a better, because like obviously everybody's comparing this to Silence of the Lambs and Seven, right? That's very much what this movie, like you can tell there are those influences and even a little bit of Zodiac. Like there are
Yeah.
those influences
Yeah.
in this movie. Do you think Longlegs is better than Silence of the Lambs or Seven?
no.
Okay. So that I
And
think
that's why
then
it's so unfair to compare it to those. Like you
I don't
could
think it's
say,
unfair.
like I
The
said in
movie
my
shows
review,
you.
I said no, stylistically, yeah. Like in my review, I said it feels like it has elements, it's inspired by, it has elements of those movies. There's a difference between saying that and then comparing it, and like, so then people go see it expecting it to be that level of movie. Like this is a really good movie in my opinion. I would give it like,
I
like
think it
like it's my second favorite movie this year, but I would never consider it like one of the greatest or anything like that. Like it's not in a hereditary class, and that's something that drives me crazy, is that everybody's always expecting the next movie to be the greatest movie ever, and it's like, dude, we get like every few years we get maybe one movie that's like,
okay,
like
but
in the last 10 years you have maybe one movie that's at that like super primo level.
But I think that if they did lean more into the direction of either Seven or Silence, that it would have been an even better movie.
No, because then
I
it to
think
me
it
would have been
crippled
too much
itself.
of a ripoff.
No, I disagree. I think you stand on the shoulders of giants. The
I actually
giants
think
being
it's a
Seven and
little,
Silence.
I think it's almost a little more not Insidious. What's the one with fucking Bagul?
But wait, the Bagul?
Yeah, not Insidious. It's with an S. Sinister. Actually
Sinister.
felt almost like like a little more of a Sinister vibe. Like and that's why
Yeah,
I
well, I
wouldn't
didn't
say
like
lean.
Sinister.
But that's why I wouldn't say lean more into the crime thing. I think what they did was cool because it was kind of like those movies, but with a supernatural angle that I haven't seen done. We haven't really seen them. And so it's like, do you want movies to just simply duplicate others or do their own thing? And I'd rather do its own thing, even if it's not like maybe I just don't think that. I think this movie's too artsy and too layered and complex and all that shit to reach a level like Silence of the Lambs anyway. Because the Silence of the Lambs is something that is really, really good, right? But it's also something that the masses, like that
But you can
most
see the parallels.
everybody can enjoy.
But you can see the parallels between Silence of the Lambs and Longlegs with the story, right? We have an FBI agent that's trying to catch an elusive serial killer, and she only has cryptic messages to go by. Obviously, she doesn't have.
I think it's a scarier movie. I think it's much creepier than Silence of the Lambs. I'll say that much.
but what's her name? Clarice Foster, or no, oh my God.
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster. Thank you. Jodie Foster's character has to, she has to rely on her own cunning and detective skills to be able to find Buffalo Bill. Whereas, Harker doesn't.
No, because it's a different movie.
Right. But what I'm saying
like for
is,
one, especially once you realize at the end what's been going on this whole time, of course, that's
right.
Like,
but that's what makes it.
She's been a
worse
puppet for without
you just spoiled it.
She's she's basically a puppet. Like
I think that's what makes it worse.
If you haven't seen the movie, that's not a spoiler because you won't know what that means.
Okay. I think the ending makes that setup worse because they introduce an element to her character and then just forget about it when they don't need it anymore.
No. That's what I mean. No, that's what I mean by people. So many people said that, don't realize. No, they introduced that element that you're talking about, the psychic element, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and they explained at the end, and so many people don't realize They explain at the end why she has that and what that is. She's not psychic. She's not psychic. She's never been psychic.
Okay, then maybe I have to watch it again, but I don't think that that's a mark of a good movie. If your movie is so hard to understand and there's so much complexity to it that it requires people to watch it multiple times, you're not going to get good response.
No, it just,
and I don't think Osgood Perkins is such an auteur.
No, it just went over the head of some people. Like, dude,
listen,
no matter how complex your movie is, it's going to go over the heads of some people.
And I don't watch as many movies as you, but I do think that I watch movies very closely and very deeply. And if I come out, I think, with this opinion, and again, I'm just some asshole, right? There's plenty of your followers that have said as much. I'm just some asshole.
That's the only real critique about this movie is it's just simply not a mainstream movie.
No,
this is literally
not
mainstream
one of my
movie
critiques.
That's gotten mainstream attention.
No, I love indie films. I don't like. I'm not going to say I don't like mainstream movies, but I don't want it to be a mainstream movie. I don't want it to be a popcorn horror. I don't want it to be easily
saying Silence to the Lambs.
But I don't want. But I don't want.
Saying it should have leaned more into that. That is what that is.
I think it should have. No. What I did say was that it should have either leaned more into Silence or Seven. It should have picked a direction. It shouldn't have tried.
Which are both mainstream softened movies.
No.
Yeah,
they're not
those
softened
movies are way easier to follow. They're not anywhere near as
because
dark
they're well
of a
written.
Movie. They don't. No, they're just softer movies. They're just way more palatable by your masses. That isn't. Like, that's just the way it is. On top of that, dude, you're talking about that is so unfair. like Silence of the Lambs is one of the greatest movies ever made. Like, that's so unfair to compare to that.
Dude, the movie wants you to compare it to that by introducing this. Yes, by introducing the story elements. It wants you. You're gonna recall similar movies. I'm sure.
I actually felt it was more closer to Seven. Everybody is saying Silence of the Lambs, and I think it's like. What, just simply because there's a female detective? Because it actually feels more like Seven.
But it's an FBI agent that's on the tail of an elusive.
But there's been a lot of movies where there's a detective on the trail of a serial killer.
Right.
The other issue I have too is I've never thought of Silence of the Lambs as a horror movie.
Okay.
I think the only reason it's really owned as a horror movie is because everybody's like, it gives a little cachet to the horror genre because it's the only technically horror movie that's won an Academy Award.
I mean, there's some pretty horrific things. Let's go to the genre.
Yeah, but you can say that about every movie. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many movies that are not considered horror that have horror moments in them.
Well, I mean, sure. I'm with you there.
I think it's a crime drama thriller. Whereas to me, Longlegs is a crime drama horror movie.
It's funny you said that because on IMDb Pro, Silence of the Lambs is listed as a crime drama thriller in that order. So good job.
Exactly. I know my shit, dude.
I wasn't saying you didn't.
This is what I do.
I wasn't saying it. Look at Bat Boy. Bat Boy says we're arguing over a bad movie. I don't think
you're just tripping, dude.
I don't think Longlegs was bad, Bat Boy. I thought it was a decent movie.
It is not a bad movie.
But
I'm not saying it's the greatest movie. Now everybody should love it and whatever. None of that. I actually, if in my review, I said this is really not going to be for everyone. It's just like Maxine. It was the same thing as Maxine, where I knew as much as I love that movie, I knew especially the final act of Maxine was going to lose people. The tone of it is fucking campy and weird. And it's just like Malignant. I adore Malignant. It's one of my favorite fucking movies.
Yeah,
but it's campy, schlocky, weird shit. And Maxine goes off the rails in the final act and does something that feels similar to Malignant. Not quite as batshit
egregious.
But it does go into that direction. And I knew that it was going to lose a lot of people. And this is what I mean by not mainstream. And I'm not accusing you of not watching indie movies. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, like, this is very not a mainstream movie. It was marketed well. And so we're kind of seeing a modern day, a little bit of like a Blair Witch deal where it catches and goes viral, and so a shitload of people go see it. But that doesn't make like Longlegs was never meant to be seen by a wide audience. It's like if this
so then
was
why
like
put it out
Black
there
Ghost
for a
Daughter.
wide audience? If it's not meant to be seen by a wide audience, why put it
If
out there
people
for
are
a
gonna
wide
go
audience?
see it, they're gonna go see it. Like they're gonna not make money if you're Neon. Fuck
Dude,
yeah.
I just don't think that people that filmmakers are looking at each other and going,
they spent $2 million to promote it. It's not like they went and spent, like a big mainstream movie budget on promoting it. Like $2 million is nothing.
well, yeah, they're not going to promote if that's typical. If the movie costs $4 million to make, they better spend at least $2 million marketing it.
Yeah. What
Like,
I'm
that's
saying
basic.
is they didn't market this as a mainstream movie. It just happened that it hit a chord with people, and so it went kind of viral, and that's why it's making so much money.
I just don't think that filmmakers are sitting around going, dude, we should make our movie so hard to understand that you have to see it 3 times to get it.
No. I agree.
That's why I don't think that should be like a quality
But they're
thing.
still there. Like all the things I'm talking about,
Right.
it's still there. It's just not a lot of people are realizing it. And so like it isn't a matter of you enjoying the movie. I think it's more of like I said, most people will give it like a 6, right? Around there.
Yeah, that's
little
what I
above
gave it. I
average.
gave it a pretty, I gave it like a,
Yeah.
I gave it a, I honestly, like,
But once you understand all of what you actually watch and you start to realize some of the things, I think a lot of people would give it a higher score and be like, oh shit, like that's actually pretty fucking cool. I didn't realize that stuff makes a lot more sense now. You can say that about a lot of movies, and you're right. It isn't about the writer or director. They're wanting people to get it. It's just the way their brain works or the way the movie falls together, whatever. It doesn't always, like, all the nuances aren't always so apparent. You know what I mean?
dude, I just don't think it's fair to be like, oh, well, you just didn't get it. It's not a plot hole. You just didn't get it.
Because I don't think this is a pretentious ass fuck like the movie Tenet. Tenet was a fucking a total pretentious movie where he intentionally was trying to make it as confusing as fucking possible.
I agree.
This isn't trying to be confusing. I'm just simply saying because of the actual, like, it isn't even so much like that he did anything right or wrong. It's just the story. If you think about what you know and I know that not everybody might know if you haven't seen it yet, like just the idea of what you find out at the end of this movie, if you apply that in reverse and think about, like, you don't have to rewatch it to realize some of the stuff I'm talking about. But if you take the things you find out at the end and you apply that knowledge to the rest of the movie and think about it, it starts to give some clarity to the reason things go the way they go. Think about it. Think about what he uses. Like, how does he get into the homes?
I listen, dude, I get it. We can't get into a full review. I'd love to do that. I'd love to point out all of this stuff. I'm not saying I don't recommend this movie. I would say, all right, watch it, but watch it with a grain of salt.
We're about to wrap, so we can get into spoilers now. Is there anybody here?
No, this is going to extend.
No, does anybody want us to have 10 minutes of spoilers or no? Let's just go by the comments. We could do 10 minutes of spoiler.
It has to be 10 minutes though, because I'm starving. My day has been so busy. I don't eat.
Need to eat shit.
I know, dude. I come on. I need food. Yeah, I should plan my day better. You're right, but like that's why I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay. Bad Boy wants the spoilers, even though he's just using us for entertainment, which like he should be, right?
I know. Isn't that what we're doing? That's the whole point. All right. This is a big warning. If you don't want any spoilers, leave now. Or if you're watching this on the replay, turn it off. I don't want to hear a single person be like, you fucking spoil it for me, because that will piss me off so bad. Which I'm going to get those now because fucking trolls.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody's like, well, you spoiled it.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler talk.
All right, spoiler talk.
Okay.
So
So
right,
the
go ahead.
dolls. So the way he gets into the homes is by using the dolls. Inside of the dolls, we know it has that metal orb. That metal orb is how he controls. We don't get an explanation on
How?
their like literally he is working with the devil.
That's
Like
the
he literally
problem.
is working with the devil.
Yes.
So
the
there's a huge
supernatural
amount
stuff,
that's supernatural in this. You have to just accept. Like
that
he's a
sucks.
toy, he's a doll maker, right? That ends up somehow, and that's why I think it would be cool to see a prequel and see like how he gets into this pact with the devil and how he does. But we do know that he enchants these orbs somehow and puts them inside of the doll's brain. It's a it's the same as like what do you call it, a voodoo doll. So what we didn't realize through the whole movie is that the whole entire movie, her character is being controlled because of the doll. Like the
Right.
brain is in the doll. That's why the
Right.
mom shoots the brain and the doll at the end of the movie, because that's her giving the daughter freedom.
Right.
Because now that he's dead, she can release the daughter from that doll. But prior to that, she couldn't, because as long as he's alive, he controls the daughter by having the doll, by controlling the doll. So the whole entire movie is through the eyes of her, who is in a trance, basically. Like she is not her. And that's why she's stilted and emotionless through the whole movie, because she's literally like a zombie that entire movie, because she's being controlled by the doll. That's why if you notice at the end of the movie, after the brains of the daughter gets shot out, she pretty dramatically changes the emotions and the way she moves and talks and all of that in that final act.
Right. And you see like a shadow thing like come out
Come out.
the back of her. Like you do see that. It is made very apparent.
Yep.
So my question is, why
Like,
didn't the mom
basically like her soul, maybe?
Why didn't the mom? No, it's the thing that was possessing her. Like
I know. I'm saying like it's like she's getting
thing.
her soul back, or the demon itself is holding her in her. Comes because you're right. It comes out. Yeah.
I called that halfway through. I was like, oh, Harker's just being controlled by one of these dolls.
Yeah.
Like I called that halfway through.
Well, I think,
and
I
so,
think most,
so my
most
question
people
is,
knew that, but I don't think
my
you're
question
implying
is,
that. Yeah.
If we're to believe that Longlegs first shows up at their house when she's like 6 or whatever, and her mom agrees to let him live in their basement and make these dolls and go do this thing and murder all these other families so that her daughter can be a voodoo zombie.
Well, yeah, because it's either that or he's going to take her daughter.
Or since she already knows what the spell is, she takes that big shotgun that she used to kill the other FBI agent, puts it in Longlegs' brain when he's sleeping, and then kills the doll and gets her daughter back and doesn't have to murder other families.
She can't, because she already, like she says in the final act of the movie, like she is going to go to hell, her and her daughter. She's not doing any of this for herself. It's all about her daughter. He's got control of her daughter.
So then
she believes that the daughter is going to basically go and burn in hell. And so she's doing all this to, protect her daughter.
You just said that while Longlegs is alive, that means
no, because he controls the daughter. He's got the doll. He has control somehow of these dolls, right? And we know that there's a doll of her with the brain still in it. So if the mom does anything to him, I mean, he's literally controlling the daughter through the entire movie. That's why she's never psychic. She's simply connected to him through that doll.
Okay,
like she's not psychic. It's like she's connected to basically the devil.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, she's psychic, but not like in your normal sense of psychic. It's not like she has these crazy psychic powers. It's like basically she's connected to the devil.
So why then did he want her to catch him? Or why?
I don't think she wanted him to catch her. He just knew he was going to be caught, because
But if he was controlling her, he could have just constantly put her off the trail. Why was he leaving these cryptic messages in the first place?
Because
if he didn't want to be caught?
because the whole thing is for the devils, for the man downstairs. Like, he doesn't try to run. Remember, like, he knows they're coming and he's just standing there. He's got his little suitcase and he's just waiting for the police to snag him.
I understand.
Like,
but
he kills himself on purpose.
Yes.
Like, it's not like he has to kill himself. Like,
Right,
he's controlled by the devil as well. Like, it's his sacrifice basically for the devil.
Okay, so then nobody has any agency in this movie. It's just the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's
the
like,
point.
That's why I'm saying I would wish
at the end, it's basically telling you, hey, the devil won. That's why you see him laughing and everything at the end, because she didn't win.
No,
like,
that's
the devil won. I think now, like, the devil is going to use her. Now she's his new fucking
No,
vessel.
she got the puppet. She's not affected by it anymore. The puppet got killed.
I think she is now Longlegs. Like, I think at the end of that movie, she is now.
I didn't get that at all. No, I didn't get that at all.
Either way, either way, I don't feel like there's like an awesome like win. Like, that's why I think they show him at the end like laughing.
But that's why I'm saying I wish they would have gone either the Silence or Seven route. I thought it would have been way more interesting.
Just more explanatory.
No, I thought it would be way more interesting than I thought it would be way more interesting that if this agent had her own agency and she was trying to figure this out, maybe she has the brain thing.
But
maybe
that's a different movie. But that's just a different movie.
Yes, I think it would have been a better movie.
We already have Silence of the Lambs. We already have Seven.
Like,
that's what I think is so cool about this, is that it tries something different. It does something different. I'm not saying it's perfect. Like, I wish there was a little, like, the answers were a little more clear. Even watching it 3 times, I still wish the answers in some cases were a little, like I said, I think it would be cool to see a prequel, because I would like to know a little, like, my biggest complaint with the movie is in the final act. Like, the only problems I really have with the movie is the final act, because way too much happens in the final few minutes of it, and it's hard to follow exactly what's happening no matter how many times you watch it, because there's so much information, so many things happening in that final like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
but I do agree that it would have been nice if we knew more about Longlegs. I do, like, how does he do what he does? Why does he do what he does?
I almost don't want to know more about Longlegs. I want to see Harker using her skills as an FBI agent, using her detective skills and maybe some other quality about her to find the cipher to his notes, because he's obviously leaving these notes for a reason. Find the cipher of his notes, find his next target, save her, find him.
But that's just a regular detective. That's a regular detective movie, right? Like, what made this cool, like, the thing that made Seven so powerful is in that final act, when you realize that nothing they do, that, like, they can't win. You know what I mean? Nothing they did makes them win. And so I feel like that's what this does, but in a different way, is that nothing she does matters. Nothing that anybody does matters. Like, he fucking wins. He's Lucifer. He's controlling. These are literally all puppets. They're literally all dolls. Like, there's a huge amount of metaphor in it as well. The fact that he's using dolls and he's a toy maker, you know what I mean? And, like, isn't his name like Hot Cobbler or whatever? Like, he literally is, you know what I mean? It's the whole message, so to speak, behind the movie is, it's that very grim, like you said, nobody has agency. That's the realization at the end. That's so fucked up. You're not supposed to leave this movie with a good feeling. You're supposed to leave this movie kind of feeling frustrated, kind of feeling like, well, that's fucked up.
I don't know. I don't know. Everybody wants you to talk about the gun, so use the next 2 minutes to talk about the gun, because we are way over.
So it's very simple. It's one of the major clues throughout the movie to make you realize that everything you're seeing is not exactly reality. And there's a lot more to it, but I got to go. But her gun, it changes multiple times in the movie. It's the make and model of her actual gun changes numerous times. And there's a bunch of other things like that too. Forget, like on Reddit, there's people that are listing all these different things, but that are like always slightly different, changing slightly throughout the whole entire movie. And it's to let you know that what she's seeing and what is actually happening is not actually reality, which is also the thing is through the whole movie, there's things that don't make sense, like why she could just do this or why this. It's because none of this is exactly reality. It's kind of like in Maxine. It's a very similar thing where you have to realize at the end of Maxine, everything you just saw is through her delusional mind. So everything you're seeing isn't exactly kind of like in Joker. Remember the movie Joker? How you realize at the end of that movie that all this shit you're seeing, it's not exactly how it happened. We don't even know exactly how things happen. This movie's like that too, where we don't know exactly who, everything is slightly askew. Everything is slightly, because we don't know how much he's literally controlling everything she's doing. So we don't even know, like, once again, no agency. And so her gun is always changing. The type of gun, I forget, there's a couple more that are like that too. Things with her mom. There's a couple things with her mom. I forget. But like either way, if you look at the little details, it's like clues throughout the whole movie. And so it's things like that that I meant where it's like on a technical level, even it's just like, dude, that's fucking cool. Like I love when people put the little crumbs and clues to a whole movie that until someone points them out or until you finish the movie, you don't realize that through the whole movie, it was like telling you things that,
Yeah, but I mean, they do that in Usual Suspects.
Yeah,
I think Usual
great
Suspects,
movie.
I mean, that movie ends in a nice little bow, and they go, "Here's a great movie." I don't think Longlegs does that.
No, because this isn't trying to do that type of thing. This is, like I said, it's trying to fuck you up. This is a horror movie. There's a big difference. Detective movies generally want you to leave like with a little more of a clean, like this is a messy, fucked up horror movie.
Why can't you have a detective horror movie?
You can. This is just not what this was trying to be. Not what it was trying to do. Like I always say, you got to appreciate things for what they are, not for what they're not. Like, don't focus on what they're not. Just enjoy it for what it is. You know, if you want a movie to be this thing, then you make that movie yourself.
No.
And we already have these movies. We already have Usual Suspects. We already have Seven. We already have Silence of the Lambs. Like, if it went and did what those movies did, then it's literally just remaking those. Just trying to do something different. And I'm not saying it all worked. I'm not saying it all worked, but I'm just saying it's just doing a different thing.
Right, but every movie has already been made, right? So if you're going to make a derivative, like, make it good.
I think it is. I think it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of, like, I just enjoyed what he did. Not I didn't feel like it needed to change to fit my idea of what good is. I just enjoyed I just enjoyed his painting. Like, this artist created this thing. I just enjoyed that piece of art.
All right. Well, that's been our spoiler take on Longlegs. I hope those still left watching enjoyed that.
I hope I explained some of that. There's a lot more. It's complicated. There's a lot. Like, go on Reddit if you really want to know a lot of the really cool. Like, there's people that literally this is what they do for a living, kind of thing, is look at crazy shit and dissect movies.
So, well, thanks everybody for joining us. We're a little bit late. We usually go from 7 to 8 o'clock, but you guys asked us to do spoiler stuff, so we did. Hope you enjoyed the discussion. Love seeing y'all in the chat. Thank you. If you have not subscribed to the Screaming Room yet, please do so. We are eventually not going to be streaming off of the Ghost Pirate channel. Please come and see us on the Screaming Room and comment on our video. We love seeing you guys in the chat, but please comment so that we can respond.
Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, right.
Which one of us is Siskel and which one of us is Ebert?
But thanks, guys. It was really good. It was good seeing everybody. And we will see y'all next week.
Later, guys.
Bye.